In a private design library, design boards give you what we call an infinite canvas to create flows between visual elements, to compare items visually, or just simply group elements in a particular design library for communicating to your other team members. So let's take a look and see how design boards can help you organize. So let's go ahead and sign in. We're going to go back to our library that we created earlier, and we'll create a new design board. So let's go ahead and click my corkboard, and you'll see my 4 private libraries here on the bottom. Let's open up Test Special Library. Once we're in here, I'm going to go ahead and click Design Board to add a new design board. So what I want to do is add a couple of the examples that exist, and in this case I'm just going to do a visual comparison. So I'm going to grab this guy here, drag him in, and I want to make him a little bit smaller, so let's resize here. Make him about that big. Let's add this one as well. And we will resize this guy too. Make them both pretty much the same size. So the idea with this design board concept is that in this case, I'm simply creating a visual comparison. So let me make it a little bit larger, and using the usual tools, I can add notes. The item on the left uses the light theme. Let's add another note here. Is the dark theme with the updated logo. So there you go. All I'm doing is giving my team members a place to visually compare elements, and in this case I have 2 of pretty much the same design, but we're using a completely different theme. So let's go take a look at a couple other libraries and see how else we can use design boards. So let me close this out. You'll notice here I have the design boards displaying here. I can filter by design boards just to show design boards, and you'll notice it has a little design board logo on it, so you know that it is a design board. So I'm going to go back and let's take a look at the Aqua Data Viz library, and you notice here I have a design board for navigating between tabs in the patient record. So let me go ahead and open this one up, and you'll notice it's used in a slightly different way. So here I have 3 elements, and they're showing what happens when I select an item in the list. I get a list of patients' records, and when I select a patient record, I get into an individual piece of information. So let's make this a little bit bigger, and I'll scroll to the right. And you notice the note here says the doctor will do much of their work going between the patients and their records. You'll also notice that this note serves as a description. So when you add a note to an element, you can actually mark it as the default note, so that shows up as the description on the main page. So let's close this guy out, and let's go to another library, our AutoTrader dashboard, which has a lot of elements in it. So I'm going to filter by only design boards, and you'll notice I have actually 4 design boards here. I have one for the design concept for the AutoTrader dashboard, interacting with the map control, comparing visual design mockups, and then a dashboard drill down. So let's look at the design concept for the AutoTrader dashboard. So you see here we have just a few mockups, and if I make it a little bit smaller, you can see that it's actually just 2 mockups. So I'll zoom in a bit, and we can read what the notes are actually saying. So the graph's expanded as the user clicks on a map. The data items are filtered geographically. So the idea with this design board is that it's showing some of the interaction that's going to occur. So when someone selects a map, you get some detailed data that shows up, and then here we have some explanation. So why bullet graphs and why spark lines are a couple notes that were made. So in this particular design board, we're just looking at a simple design concept with some really low fidelity wireframes on this particular design library. So if we look at comparing visual design mockups, something we did a little bit earlier in the other design library, but here we have 3 different mockups. And if I zoom in, take a look at some of the notes. So here the default note, hey everybody, we need some visual design feedback about these 3 options. If I go up a little bit, I saw some other notes up here in my overview plus detail. It's just giving some description on the type of groupings, and these are comments from different folks. And if I scroll over to the right, You can see some comments on the actual font. So the idea with not only having some visual comparison, but then allowing your team to collaborate on these items and add notes and kind of see what the concepts are and the opinions are on some of the changes that are being made. So let's take a look here. This guy says he really likes this one. So that's a type of communication you can give back and forth. Eventually what you might do with the design board is actually start creating a final version of the design that you've been working on. So let's say you've been collaborating with your team over time on particular designs, and once everyone settles on something, you might create final design boards which show high fidelity wireframes or prototypes along with all of the style guide information that goes along with it. So now you have an idea of how design boards work in Quince. You can use them as a visual comparer, you can use them to show state changes, or you can really just use them to group items along an infinite canvas. Thanks for watching.